Welcome to Tabo Eminent channel. It is warming the planet overall. However, this question sometimes arises because climate change can lead to regional cooling or short-term variability that creates confusion. Let's clarify the situation. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel. For years, scientists have warned that the Earth is warming, not in fits and starts, but in a clear, long-term trend. And yet, headlines occasionally pop up suggesting the opposite, that climate change could be cooling the planet. It's a puzzling idea. How could a process caused by greenhouse gases, the same gases that trap heat in the atmosphere, possibly make the Earth colder? To understand this contradiction, it helps to step back and look at the full picture. Since the late 19th century, global temperatures have steadily climbed. Glaciers have retreated, sea levels have risen, and heat waves have become more intense and frequent. Scientists have measured an average global temperature increase of more than 1.2 degrees Celsius, 2.2 degrees Fahrenheit, a figure that might seem small but is already reshaping ecosystems, weather patterns, and sea life. The data is clear: 2023 was the hottest year on record, and 2024 may be even warmer. So where does the cooling claim come from? Part of the confusion arises from how climate change unfolds differently across regions and timelines. While the planet as a whole is warming, some places can actually experience short-term cooling. For instance, shifts in ocean currents, like La Niña, can temporarily cool global temperatures. Volcanic eruptions can spew massive amounts of ash and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, reflecting sunlight and chilling parts of the Earth for months or even years. Similarly, increased melting of Greenland's ice sheet could pour fresh water into the North Atlantic, disrupting the warm currents of the Gulf Stream, and paradoxically cool parts of northern Europe, even as the rest of the planet keeps warming. This regional and temporary cooling can be misleading. If a cold winter hits the northeastern United States, or if spring feels unusually cool in Europe, some might wrongly assume the planet is cooling. But climate change is not just about weather, it's about long-term global trends. Weather is what happens outside your window this week. Climate is what happens across the Earth over decades. There are also political and ideological forces at play. Some groups use cherry-picked data or isolated anomalies to argue against the overwhelming scientific consensus. They may point to a single cold year or a localized snowstorm to dismiss decades of research and evidence. But one cold day doesn't erase a century of warming, just as one rainy day doesn't end a drought. Interestingly, climate change itself can drive some of the very changes that lead to regional cooling. One dramatic possibility being studied is the weakening of the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, AMOC, a crucial ocean current system. As Greenland's ice melts and adds fresh water to the North Atlantic, it may slow or even shut down these currents. If that happens, parts of Europe could get significantly colder, despite global temperatures continuing to rise. In that case, climate change would still be warming the Earth, even if certain regions become unexpectedly cold. Climate change is complex, but its message is simple: the planet is heating up, and it's time we take it seriously. In the early morning hours, an unexpected frost settled over a farm in the Midwest. The air, unusually crisp for that time of year, bit into young crops and dusted the ground with a glint of silver. Local farmers shook their heads. "So much for global warming," one muttered. And indeed, to the untrained eye, a cold snap like this might seem to contradict everything scientists have been saying for decades. But this is where the story of climate change becomes more nuanced, and more dangerous to misunderstand. Despite occasional cold weather, the Earth is not cooling. In fact, the planet is warming at an alarming rate. What many don't realize is that climate change doesn't mean every day will be hotter than the last. It means the Earth's entire climate system is shifting, and with that shift comes greater extremes. That includes more heat waves, yes, but also more violent storms, droughts, and, at times, even brief cold spells. Across the globe, signs of this change are everywhere. In the Arctic, sea ice that once lasted year-round now vanishes in the summer, exposing dark ocean water that absorbs more heat. In South Asia, heat waves regularly push past temperatures safe for human life. Forests burn longer and more frequently in places like California and Australia. And in the oceans, coral reefs bleach and die as the water warms beyond what marine life can tolerate. Still, the idea that climate change could somehow cool the planet keeps resurfacing, like a rumor that refuses to die. Part of this confusion is due to how climate systems interact. This can disrupt major ocean currents, like the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, AMOC, which helps keep parts of Europe mild. If the AMOC weakens, as many scientists fear it might, some regions could experience a strange irony: cooler weather triggered by global warming. Then there's the role of volcanic eruptions, which can eject aerosols high into the stratosphere, temporarily blocking sunlight and leading to short-term cooling. Events like these don't disprove climate change, they just mask its effects for a little while. Think of it like putting sunglasses on a rising sun. The glare might dim for a moment, but the day is still getting hotter. People cherry-pick short-term data, a few cooler years, a snowy winter, and present it as proof that the Earth is not warming. But this ignores the long-term reality. Decade after decade, the planet's average temperature keeps rising. According to NASA and NOAA, 19 of the 20 hottest years on record have occurred since 2001. What's more alarming is how this warming is accelerating. Climate models predicted much of what we're seeing today: rising seas, stronger storms, vanishing glaciers, but in many cases, the changes are arriving faster than expected. The natural world is reacting, sometimes violently, to the buildup of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. And unlike a passing winter storm, these changes are not temporary. They are reshaping the world in permanent ways. So no, climate change is not cooling the Earth. It's pushing the planet into uncharted territory. A world where the familiar rhythms of seasons, rainfall, and ecosystems are no longer reliable. A world where human lives, especially the most vulnerable, are increasingly at risk. And a world where misunderstanding the science could cost us the time we no longer have.